This is a mechanical keyboard which looks like an 80s toy. It lets you customize it in the weirdest possible ways, and it might just be the best sounding keyboard I've tried since, well, okay, it's the best sounding keyboard I've tried. So yeah, Nuphy have done something utterly mad with this keyboard, because at first glance it looks like it could be any other mechanical keyboard from the brand who brought you absolute hero products like the Air 75, the Halo series, and lots more. They're also not afraid to experiment. A year or so ago they launched the customizable Gem 80, and the mega premium NOS 75 also came out last year. Both of them were really big swings, and the latter was clearly a bit too big as it's been discontinued due to poor sales. Translation, it was a bit too expensive. This one though, this is a bit different in quite a lot of ways. In this video, we'll look at what you get in the box, what features this bad boy is packing, what it sounds and feels like to type on, and ultimately whether I think this is worth buying. Let's unbox then. And by the way, thanks to Nuphy for sending this out for me to try ahead of release. They haven't seen this before posting, by the way, just in case you were wondering. On the website, you can choose between low profile and high profile setups. I've got the low profile one here. Now in the box, you get some paperwork, including Nuphy's signature sticker pack, a nice quality keycap and switch puller, a USB-C data cable, 2.4G dongle, and a bunch of extra keycaps. Interestingly, they haven't included any extra switches, which you often get with Nuphy's keyboards. I always think that's quite a nice touch, as it lets you test out different styles of switch before having to commit to buy a full pack. The one I'm testing out today has got the red nano linear switches installed, which are their flagship switch with POM build, and as we'll see, they are pretty tasty to use. Finally, let's take a look at the board. It's a slightly unusual key layout compared to some of Nuphy's other 75% keyboards, but I kind of like it. Everything's laid out pretty intuitively, and anyone who's missing the insert key has got the option to add it back in using the software. And by the way, that key is one of the extra keys that you get included. Up top, we'll see a knob with a very satisfying twist action to it. Yes, I did just say knob and twist action. You stop giggling at the back of the class. And then behind the frame, we've got dedicated Windows and Mac switches and the on-off wireless or wired selector. Plus, there's a little space for the 2.4G dongle to live when it's not in use. Now, this doesn't quite sit flush within the frame, but I guess that kind of makes it easy to find if you're fumbling around the back of the keyboard to look for it. The keycaps that come installed are double shot PBT, and I'm pleased to say they're the same exacting standard that you would expect from Nuphy. Really clear fonts, and although they're not shine through, they're very stable and well made. Now, I also went for the wrist pad, which is super squishy and comfy. I actually think it might be Nuphy's first soft touch wrist pad, because all the others I've ever bought from them have been either acrylic or wooden. I also picked up the conversion kit, which lets you transform this into a standard profile keyboard. Yeah, you heard that right. This keyboard lets you set it up as both a low profile and a standard size layout, and I'm going to show you how that works in just a bit. Let's have a few words on the design here. Now, I mentioned in the intro that to me, this looks a little bit like a toy, and I'm not 100% sure that that is a good thing, because the looks are actually quite deceptive. For something that looks like a piece of retro tech, this is a genuinely serious bit of keyboard kit. Now, even before I turn it on, it's giving me vibes of 90s era transparent Game Boys, Nintendo 64 controllers, and yeah, we've got some clues here with the 8-bit design over on the base. It's screaming fun and nostalgia, and if you grew up in the same era as me, you'll probably love that, but if not, you might find yourself scratching your head a bit. I personally really like this aesthetic. It's fun and playful without ever looking cheap, which is quite a tough balance to strike, and yet it is quite a strong look. So even if you compare it to something like the Air 75, you'll see the classic Nuphy colour-themed keycaps are much bolder on this new product. There are a bunch of extra keycap sets that you can order if you don't like these though, including a variety of low profile sets. There are some high profile options and also some shine throughs too. Let's move on to see what features this brings to the table. And of course you get all the standard stuff, things like 1000 Hz polling via 2.4G dongle or the wired mode, so it's plenty fast for gamers and programmers. And when you're in wireless mode, you can also connect up to 4 devices to this keyboard. Plus, it's got a really decent battery life. 75. This is the Nuphy IO version, which comes with a 2,500 mAh battery capacity, and that translates to over a month of use without the backlights on, or around a week of use if you're using the backlights throughout a standard workday. All this is delivered pre-assembled, but you can of course tinker with switching out those switches or the keycaps if you're into modifying your keyboard. And the only thing you can't change are the stabilizers, which are screwed in. But I don't think this keyboard is aimed at someone who wants to get into that level of nerdiness. Now, this is all usual stuff for a modern mechanical keyboard, so what makes this one different? And we should probably start by talking about customization, because that is the biggest selling point of this particular keyboard, or at least Nuphy seem to think so. Now, the designers have made this to be both a low profile and a standard sized keyboard. And how does that work? Well, they've designed these hybrid switches in partnership with Gateron, which allow you to alter the board exactly to your preferences. If we look at it alongside their best-selling Air 75 product, which is their main low-profile offering, we can see even in low-profile mode, the Kick 75 does sit quite high, but it's still lower profile than the standard-sized Halo 75 in the blue case over here. And the way this transformation works is that they supply a conversion kit, and that lets you lift up or lower the frame, and you can install more layers of foam, reconnect everything up, pop on your keycaps, and then transform the keyboard into a different format. It's a really cool idea that I'm sure is a world first, and I reckon anyone who's new to mechanical keyboards, who's not sure whether they're ready for a low profile or a standard size yet, this is pretty much ideal for you. Now, at the same time as all of that, I'm really interested to know, is this a case of Nuphy showing off their engineering and design skills, or is this a genuine feature that keyboard fans are looking for? Because there's actually loads more to like here. Now, another thing you'll notice on their promotion is that this is called an open source keyboard, and you might ask, what on earth does that mean? Well, in short, it means that they will release the specs of certain parts of this keyboard, like this chunky pull-out red bit here, so that if you have a 3D printer, you can just print off your own stuff and then customize the look any way you like. You can literally have an infinite number of ways of customizing this if you have access to a 3D printer. Now, I don't, so I couldn't test this out, but I do think it's a pretty cool idea. Also, unlike Nuphy's other options, this has a slightly different layout with a knob that can be programmed to do all sorts, not just control the volume, which is what it does straight out of the box. Now, the website shows it working with Photoshop, so although I wasn't able to test this out, it looks like you can program it for different software applications, which is a really nice feature to have at this price point. And then finally, if you're into lighting on your keyboard, you will not be disappointed here. This thing definitely glows. The transparent design means that compared to something like the Air 75 or even the Halo model, you really can see loads going on here. And there are 20 different light displays to choose straight out of the box, plus their software will let you customize it in even more ways too. Let's move on to the typing experience, and as well as showing you the Kick 75, I'm going to start by showing you a short clip of the Halo 75 version 2 and the Air 75 version 2, just in case you were thinking of upgrading from either of those models. Hopefully my mics were picking this up accurately, but to me this thing sounds so thick and creamy. I kind of think they should have called it the Milkshake 75. To me, the sound profile isn't quite as rattly as the Air 75 or as clacky as the Halo 75. It's just really full and well balanced. And if you look at the makeup, it's actually not hard to see why this might be. Nuphy have added a gasket structure here to help reduce any hollow sounds, and also this acts a bit like a shock absorber to give you a very satisfying spring back when you are typing. It's also packed with foam layers throughout, similar to the Halo 75, so you get a really pleasing muted sound that's really deep and creamy. Up until recently, if you'd asked me what the best sounding keyboard was, I'd probably have picked something from the Nuphy catalogue. Well, not anymore, because after Nuphy have had that crown for a good couple of years, with this keyboard, I reckon Nuphy have just brought a missile to a fistfight. Let's quickly recap. This is a highly customizable keyboard that is packed full of features, foam, and customization options. So what is there not to like here? Well, there's not loads of considerations, but there are some things that might stop you immediately pressing buy on that pre-order. Firstly, as with all Nuphy products, there's no ISO option or any kind of regional key layout possible, so if big, chunky enter keys are a deal breaker for you, sadly, you're out of luck. Secondly, there's the look. Obviously, you can 3D print your own add-ons and you can buy those extra keycap sets, but the fundamentals here, like the see-through case and the plastic build, might not be for everyone, especially if you're really into heavier metal frames. If that's the case for you, I'd recommend just grabbing the Halo 75 version 2, which I've been using for ages now as part of my studio setup, and I absolutely love it. Thirdly, you will have to make a decision when you buy this about whether you want to use this with Nuphy's own customization software or have the ability to use it with QMK or VIA. Now, I wasn't able to test out Nuphy's web-based software extensively as part of this review, but looking at the website, it seems like it would work as you would expect, and to me as a regular keyboard user appeared to be at least on par with VIA. And finally, I'm not 100% sure who this is for. On one hand, the level of customization offered would suggest that this is targeted at pro users who want to be able to swap out all their keys and switches and 3D print their own accessories. But then on the other hand, this thing is absolutely phenomenal straight out of the box, even if you never take off a single keycap and you just want something that feels and sounds great to type on. And then there's the price point, which we're getting to, would suggest that it's aimed more at that wider average user market, and it seems like Nuphy have learned from their wildly expensive NOS 75 experiment and come out with a super creamy, stocky option that should appeal to lots of different users. I guess the proof will be in the pre-order, but I'm curious to know, if you're thinking about ordering this, let me know in the comments what feature prompted you to check it out. If you want to pre-order the Kick 75 from Nuphy, the price starts from $89. Yeah, they've definitely heard the feedback on the pricing front, kids. It's a genuinely, brilliantly, aggressively priced bit of kit, considering what you're getting here. And if I were one of Nuphy's competitors, I'd be quite worried about this one. But as always, there is a bit of a catch, because this is a bit like buying a car. Yeah, you can drive it straight out of the box, but you will be wanting some add-ons and they can just start to add up. So for example, if you want to work with QMK or VIA rather than Nuphy's own customization software, that'll be extra. Ditto if you want to add on some different plates or any range of keycaps or switches, you can take your pick, but they will cost you. There are some really nice looking ones here, like the Almost Silent Blush set, which you can have a listen to over on Nuphy's product page. But yeah, just keep an eye on these as they can add up if you go a bit mad with the extras when you place your order. Anyway, you've got until the 20th of March to hop on that pre-order. If you do, that will get you free shipping as well as up to 30% off on any of those extras. Which ones would I recommend? Well, if you already have a set of keycaps that you like, I'd recommend getting the wrist rest and also the conversion kit so that you can take advantage of those really magic hybrid switches. Don't worry about alternate plates unless you're buying this for gaming, as this genuinely sounds brilliant right out of the box for pretty much any other use. Likewise, I wouldn't bother paying the extra for the QMK version unless you're a hardcore programmer, as the Nuphy version should be absolutely fine for most people for the sake of saving $20 on your order. I also noticed the QMK version is a bit more battery hungry, so it comes with a larger battery too, so that's probably where that money will be going. Oh, I almost forgot, and a little bonus to help both you and me out. If you use my discount code on this particular order, you'll get $10 off any order over $100, and I'll get a little kickback to buy myself a nice posh cup of coffee to enjoy when I'm making those videos. The code's over here, or the first link in the description whenever you're ready. As always, folks, if you've got any questions about this one, just let me know down in the comments. I'll be there there lurking, and I'm always happy to help out. Now, if you're looking for some more cool things to level up your desk setup, have a look at this one for a bit of inspiration. See you next time, folks.